Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Entitled People. As usual, we got some more Reddit posts to check out today, so let's get into it, guys. Doctor refuses to do his job. Let's do this then. To set the story, I have epilepsy that is controlled as long as I take my medication. This means I am allowed to drive. I just have to have my neurologist fill out a form basically giving me permission at least once a year. Since I am controlled, I usually only have maintenance appointments about once a year. I am also married with 4 kids, so my being able to drive is important to our daily routine. It's also important to know that my husband has a job where every 4 to 8 years we have to move. This takes place about 1 or 2 years ago with our most recent move. When we move, one of the first things I do is find doctors and schedule appointments for everyone. After getting established with a general doctor, I got a referral to the local neurology department. To go anywhere else is like a 40-minute drive. Day of the first appointment comes and everything goes smoothly. No red flags. I have been in the medical rodeo here in the US for as long as I can remember, so I can usually sense a bad doctor quickly. The hospital doesn't have the best reputation, so I was cautiously optimistic. After that appointment, I was hopeful. Big mistake. A couple months later, I get a yearly letter from the state in the mail requesting a new driving form be filled out by my neurologist. I call my neurologist and find out their procedure. They tell me I can drop it off and they will send it in. My husband offers to take it on his way to work because it's just down the road from work and he knows I hate their parking lot. He drops it off and we assume all is good. They usually give you about 6 months to get this form in. So about 6 months later, I receive a letter from the state saying the form was never received and my license is suspended. Obviously, I am wondering what the hell happened. I did everything on my end. So I call the doctor's office. This is when the nightmare begins. After that annoying menu all doctor's offices have when you call, I finally reach a real person. I tell her the situation and ask if they sent in the form. "Oh, I am sorry, ma'am. Dr. Smith doesn't fill out forms. He just throws those away." A moment of silence, because I was caught off guard by that one. I called several months ago and was assured if I dropped it off, he would fill it out and send it in. Sorry, he won't fill that out. He literally has us throw them straight in the trash. He is required by the state to fill out this form. Does he need me to walk him through it? At this point I was angry and my husband, who was listening, offered to take over. He knew I was about to go off and thought if he kept calm it could be worked out. He is also familiar with the crappy medical system and has helped people talk to doctors before. Comes with his job. My husband was on the phone for over an hour and had to call a patient advocate at the hospital to get them to do anything. I was stewing nearby and growing more and more angry. When we hung up, he said the doctor's office reluctantly agreed to fill out the form, and the head nurse and patient advocate would make sure it got done. If it had ended there, I might have let things go and just moved on to another doctor. But no, they filled out the form wrong at least 3 times. These forms are super easy and take doctors maybe 30 seconds to fill out for me. I have watched them fill it out. He basically kept checking a box that implied he didn't treat me for epilepsy, and my general doctor had to do it, meaning this lazy ass was trying to get someone else to do it. The flaw in that though is I grew up dealing with this crap, and I was by now very educated on how this was supposed to go. So I called them again. I decided to unleash my anger. "Neurology department, how can I help you?" I have sent over my form from the state 4 times now to be filled out. Once it was thrown out. 3 times it was filled out wrong. I need Dr. Smith to fill out this form today. "Your general doctor is supposed to do it." My general doctor does not treat my epilepsy. Dr. Smith does. Are you stupid? The doctor treating my epilepsy has to fill it out. It's pretty easy actually, but if it's too hard for the doctor, I can walk him through it. Or I can call my old neurologist and she can teach him. It's really not required. We don't have to do that. Nice try. I've been doing this for over 10 years. State law requires he fill out this form. Do I need to talk to a lawyer? Oh, yeah, just come by and it will be taken care of. My husband, the mediator, stepped in and drove to the hospital with me to get this taken care of. When we get there, he can tell the drive just gave me more time to build up more anger. He asked if he could take the form in for me. I happily handed over the form, where I had highlighted what needed to be filled out, and also written step-by-step instructions on how to fill out the form. I also reminded him if this went wrong again, I would be suing, and to let them know I would be reporting him to the state medical board. He was at first concerned that the state wouldn't take a highlighted form, but I knew they could very easily print a new one off. He took it in and instead of handing it to the desk, he asked for the head nurse. He waited until it was filled out and had printed proof that it had been sent in. I looked at the copy and knew the nurse, trying to desperately resolve an unwinnable situation, had forged the doctor's signature. No hate to the nurse, she just had a crappy boss. After I got the confirmation I had my license again, I reported him to the hospital board, filed complaints anywhere in the hospital that could hold him accountable, and made a detailed complaint to the state medical board. I also left scathing reviews online as well. I found a new neurologist 40 minutes away, and the drive is a nice break away from the kids. Shortly after I reported him to the state medical board, I received a letter stating they were opening an investigation into his conduct, and that entire department's conduct. They also asked I fill out a form stating I was okay with the investigation and yada yada. I filled it out and faxed it over. I found out about a year later that apparently he now has signs hanging everywhere, basically saying if you are mean to me, I will be mean to you. The people said they saw those signs and left, and decided also 40 minutes wasn't that bad of a drive. I was also told since then they have had trouble keeping supporting staff in that department. I assumed there was some sort of consequences for him to hang signs everywhere. Worst Karen I've ever seen caused a blow up for the ages because I wouldn't give her son a black belt on his first day of karate. I teach Kenpo karate as a second-degree black belt. I also have an assistant, Kira, a first-degree black belt in her own right. I don't own the gym, my instructor does, but since he's gotten older, me and Kira handle the younger classes, while he handles the business side of things plus adult class. We have 3 classes: kids class, age 5 to 10, intermediate class, age 11 to 15, and adult class, age 16 and up. So kids class has just ended when a woman walks in with her son. She says her 13-year-old son wants to take karate lessons, so I shake hands with her and have her sit down with my instructor to fill out the waivers and get him his gi measurements. Other students file in for the intermediate class and me and Kira get down to business. I take the bulk of the class, around 15 kids, while Kira goes with the new student one-on-one to teach him basic strikes and stances. Not 5 minutes later I hear Kira upset, telling the new boy to do 10 push-ups. Why? He called Kira, who's essentially a volunteer, a f***ing bitch. Karen, the mother, stands up and says her son can't do push-ups, as she doesn't want her son to be sore. Kira lets him do the push-ups on his knees, but not 5 minutes later she makes him do 20 more, since he's now called her a slut. For reference, Kira is in her early 20s, and the boy is 13. Not to mention, there's other parents and kids here as well. It's wholly inappropriate. So I walk over and ask Kira to switch with me. As she does, she gives me the bug eyes and mouths. What the f***? So I walk over and ask the boy why he insulted my assistant Kira. He said he doesn't like girls. When I asked him what he meant, he said he only listens to his dad or other boys. He won't listen to me at all. He needs some discipline. The mother confirms to me, chuckling, as if raising a monster is something to laugh about. When do I get a black belt like you have? The boy asks me. Mind you, he's been punching the air the entire time. This boy is aggressively hyper. Well, it takes quite a while. I've been training since I was 5 and earned my black belt at 21, so it took me a while, I say. Nah, I don't want to wait that long. I want mine now, he says, his chubby face now red and sweaty from the shadowboxing. The mother motions me over and whispers in my ear, "Do you think you could give him one, just to make him happy?" No, sorry, he has to earn one. We aren't a belt factory. Well, he never gets told no. I'm sorry, but that's not how we do things here. I have money, I can pay you extra. No, sorry, we only give belts when they're earned. After several minutes of arguing and conversation that leads nowhere, Karen snaps at me. I paid you to give my son a black belt. She stands up and points a finger in my face. It was so sudden that I reflexively took a step back. Hey, chill out, lady. Some of the other parents chime in. Before I can reply to Karen, I hear a loud commotion behind me. I hear more parents and students shouting. I turn and see new boy smacking and hitting a girl in the class. Kira is shouting, "Hey, stop." However, this girl that new boy is hitting is a purple belt and a little badass of her own. She loads a front kick and hits brat boy center mass, right in his flappy stomach. He shouts and doubles over, crying in tears of pain. I was so freaking proud of her. Hey, that little bitch hurt my son. Karen runs past me onto the mat and gets in the face of the 14-year-old girl her son just attacked. This girl is already scared and starts to cry, but Karen ups the ante and shoves this girl in the chest with her hand. Kira gets between them and is red-faced and enraged. I immediately rush over and try to defuse the situation, but neither of them are having it. Parents stand up and start shouting, "Keep your hands off my daughter." The girl's father, who was with the other parents, yells at Karen. He starts approaching aggressively but backs off when he realizes me and Kira, both black belts, are by her. Now you should know something about Kira. She's under 5 foot, less than 110 pounds soaking wet, but she can still kick my ass up and down the mat on any given day. She's fast, accurate, and insanely flexible. She can control her body and perform techniques that I just simply can't. So Kira and Karen get into a shouting match with each other. I tell Karen to leave with your kid and don't come back. Don't you ever lay a hand on any of my students. Do you understand? I raised my voice and was genuinely pissed off. F you, my son needs a black belt and you won't give him one. She screams at me. Your son is crazy, he attacked our students. Kira interjects. But this set Karen off as she reaches and tries to slap Kira in the face. Big mistake. Having had enough, Kira parries the smack and fires an absolutely vicious leg kick right into the meat of Karen's inner thigh with nothing held back. The slap of Kira's shin bone decimating Karen's thigh echoed off the ceiling, like a slab of meat getting thrown on the floor. It was glorious. Karen gasped as she fell onto the mat in a heap. Oh my god. She held her leg as Brat Boy got up and rushed at Kira. I got in front of her and grabbed the boy's wildly swinging arms. He hit me a few times, but I refused to hit children whatsoever. I let him tire himself out. One of the parents called the police. After interviewing everyone involved, they determined that Kira and myself acted in self-defense. Neither of us wanted to pursue assault charges against Karen, but the parents of the girl Karen shoved felt differently about it, so Karen was hauled away in handcuffs. Karen said she'd sue me and Kira in civil court, but since we have legal waivers, here's hoping nothing comes of that. As for the boy, I honestly feel bad. His childhood has been robbed by piss-poor parenting, and I wish we could have had more time to straighten him out. I have a particular dislike for his views of women, and feel like I really could have helped turn him around. Maybe, maybe not. So yeah, that was my experience tonight. And that's all for today, guys. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, drop a like, I'd really appreciate it. And also, subscribe if you haven't already. So take care, and I'll see you next time.